everybody. Welcome to our 2020 virtual conference. I'm Heidi Fisher, and I teach Adapted Phy-Ed up at Moorhead High School. And Kay Oling and I are doing this session together. It's the make and take session. And you have seen us present. Each year we do a little bit of something. A lot of this is what we did last year, and at other workshops there might be a couple new things that I learned and used when I taught online last spring. So hopefully you find one or two things that you will use and like, and we will get going. A lot of these ideas are from my mentor Kay, so even though we aren't together, I just want you to know that she has shown me a lot in the past, and it's been a lot of fun learning and using these activities. So we're going to start with our basic hula hoop, and these are great because they don't kink like the ones we buy. So I've been making a lot of these, and I sent each of my students home one of these last spring, and we used them for all our activities. I used it every time I met with them for tossing and all that. So in order to make this, I'm going to show you what you need. I buy this is the 3/4. I have to make sure. You can buy the half or the 3/4. No, this is the 1/2 inch, and it's 100 feet of the water poly pipe you use for water sprinkling systems. So it comes in a bundle like this, and you can get about 10 to 12 hoops made out of this, depending on how many you make. So mine are usually maybe about this size of the actual hoop, the whole bunch here, about this size. I don't make the big hoops. I make hoops to toss into and use that way, not for hula hooping. So this works great. You will need a heat gun. We have used boiling water that you dip the ends in, but I like the heat gun the best. Hair dryers work too. They just take a long time and might be more time consuming that way. This is called a ratchet pipe cutter, and to use this you got to pull it open and then cut. I'm just going to show you because I had already pre-cut these. So I had it closed and I opened it up. You have to pull it open. That's how you get it open. And then you get it on your pipe and you click it. It'll start clicking closed until mine's dying, until it cuts. So you can kind of hear it, and then it cuts the end off. You can also use a saw to saw the end off. I like the ratchet because it's a lot quicker, but you can use either one of these tools. Okay. So now we have our pre-cut. This is going to be the size of my hoop. I am going to, oh, I forgot. We have the coupling, and this is the connector that connects the two ends. And then any color electrical tape. So I have a bunch of different colors here. You can choose what colors you want to decorate with. All right. So I got my couplings. I'm going to heat up one end of the hoop. This is also in the handout. I took step-by-step pictures and wrote down everything you need. So you can just watch this so you know what to do. Okay, turning on my heat gun, and it gets hot, so watch your hand, and you're going to heat up the end just by kind of working around it and inside. I'm going to shut that off and stick one end halfway. So you got to push it really hard. If you need it to be softer, then heat it up a little bit more and you can get it in. But that's about right. It's halfway so I can get the other end in. Okay, so now I'm going to heat up the other end. Very exciting. exciting. You want to make sure you don't get it too loose, but I'm going to do 2 of these for you because I want to show you what I use the smaller one for. Okay, so this is my basic size I use for all my, that one went a lot quicker. So there's it's about a 2-foot hoop for targets and different games, throwing games, that type of thing. Okay, let's do the other one. Again, I got cut my hoop. I'm gonna heat up the end and grab my coupling. Decorate them with the tape. I'll just use, let's see, I'll use blue on this one. So you take your electric tape, open it up there, and I start where I connected them and I just go around that connection, and then just a basic wraparound design. So that's how I decorate it. Just a basic wrap. You can make it solid if you want to use that much tape, but I think it's plenty good. The small ones are good for the tossing, but it's also good when you have your wheelchairs and you hold their hand and then you're swinging it with them. So I have their arm and you're swinging by holding their hand. Those are a lot of the kids that I have with CP. It's hard for them to have that extension they need. And when you hold their hand and you get the hoop going, thanks Megan, and you can swing it with them, their arms loosen up and it's really cool. That's another K tip, which is awesome. I've used it a lot. Thank you, Megan Johnson, my assistant, who's also videotaping this for me. All right, so those are the different hula hoops. You can have a normal size hula hoop depending on if you're elementary or high school. That is listed. I think I put that in there. Yep. In our handout, I listed what you would need for the size hula hoops for your age group. I got that by measuring some. So, hula hoops, make your own. And I'm going to make a bunch more of these. I know I probably have another 15, 16 kids that are new to me at the high school. So I'll probably make enough to send home just in case with them, and see what other homemade equipment I can send home or whatever. But when you have, I think I'm going to have 55 plus students, it's hard to just send your equipment home. So if you can get money and make some of these, it makes it nice to have equipment at their house that you can use. And you can do a lot with the hoops. And on the handout, you'll see a variety of activities. And hopefully you can use some of them.
Our next activity is we're going to make homemade giant bubble blowers. The first one, some of the equipment that we need is PVC pipe. You'll need a PVC cutter, which works wonderful. This should be in your toolbox as an adapted PE teacher, or you can also use a hacksaw. So either one works just fine. So I've already cut the pipe. It's about 27 inches. This is 1/2 inch PVC pipe. I have a bigger piece that is 3/4 inch. It's about 4 inches long. This is going to be the slider for our bubble blower. You will also need either rope or this is trim. You get it at the fabric store. Trim for curtains or whatever works great. You'll need one washer, an end cap, a 1/2 inch PVC pipe end cap, some duct tape, and in the end I'll show you how to make the bubble blower or the bubble solution also. So for our first one, we're going to take and slide the washer onto our trim. You're going to stuff one end of the trim into the top of the PVC pipe, and you're going to put the other half, and you can make sure it's if it's straight, stick that in also on the top. And you could use PVC glue, but you also to put the cap on, but a hammer works too. So you hammer on. Oops. Nothing like putting a hole in my dining room table.
Ow!
So once you have this on, you're going to slide your slider piece on here. Make sure that the washer is on the big portion of your bubble blower. You're going to fold the trim so you have a smaller loop here and a bigger loop here. This is where your duct tape comes in. We're going to tape this down so it stays on the pipe. And you want to make sure, now I made the loop a little big because you don't want the slider to slide off the end. But when we blow the bubble, you'll dip into the solution with the slider closed, and when you want to blow the bubble, we will open it. So that's bubble blower number 1.
Okay, now Heidi back, and we're gonna make one of the lap ramps. Kay did this at the 2019 conference, and it's been useful for me. I've used it with my wheelchair students or students sitting in chairs for like indoor or outdoor bocce and bowling if we don't have enough of the ramps, or if we're playing a type of bocce golf. It's been really handy because it's easy to move around. I'll hold up the final, because I took it apart. I'll hold up the final ramp so you'll actually see it at the end. But what you start with are, I've got the 3/4 inch PVC, and this one was a 10-foot, and I had it cut in half, so it's a 5-foot section. So this ramp's going to be a little bit shorter than my first one that I have already made. But you will need to make 6 cuts on your PVC, and on your handout I told you the exact measurements on a 10-foot piece, so you can use those measurements or figure out how you want to make it bigger or smaller depending on what your size your students are, or how long you need the ramp to be. So you need PVC, and you need the pipe cutter or the saw if you want to saw it. Again, the ratchet works well. Remember, with the hula hoops we do the same thing. You have to pull it open like that, using 2 hands pulling it open, and then you get it on your mark. So I'm going to put it on my long mark and just start cutting. Hang on. There we go. It's a little firmer than, PVC is a little firmer than the hoop, but you'll see it cuts right through. So it really doesn't take much. So there's the length, and then I will cut 2 short ones and 2 for the handles. So I'm going to show you what I did. So here's the 2 long pieces that I need. So I just cut the 1 long one, and I decorated it with tape. Again, I took the tape. I'll just do this one. I took the tape and I started at the top and I wrapped it around, and then I just did a wraparound design. So now I have 2 of the long pieces like this, and I have 2 elbows. So you put the elbow on the end of each one facing inward like that, and then you have your little itty piece. You have 2 of these cut, you stick those in, and that's the width of your, and that can be adjusted too with what size ball you're using. This is a good size for my bocce, so it's about a 3 or 4 inch piece. And then on the top part you have tees, and these are just the PVC tees. They sell them with all the PVC accessories. So you put the tees on the top part. Oh, if you can see that, there we go. And then that's ready for the other little itty bitty piece like I just put on the bottom. You put into the top, and then I have 2 funky little design handles that I put on the outside. Watch where you have the tape. There we go. Make sure there's no tape there, they go in easier. So there you have your handle and then the base. And when they roll a ball down, it just sets on their lap. So you can see that'll be on their lap end, and then the ball will just roll down into the target area. So that is the lap ramp, and they're super easy and great for the kids in the wheelchairs or kids sitting in chairs. It's really a neat thing. So you have, all this is on the handout also, so hopefully you can make a few of these. I did send one of these home, and the parent was really happy to get it because it made a lot of our activities easier when I did the online group activities. So again, not too expensive, and makes it the kids a lot more accessible to any area you're going, outside or inside. So there we go, lap ramp. Thank you.
Our next activity, we're going to make swimsuit hoops. Some of the materials you'll need is our trusty PVC cutter again. You'll need a PVC connector. This is a 1/2 inch. We will be using 1/2 inch PVC, flexible PVC pipe. I use a heat gun to help heat the end so you can put the connector into the hoop. And you will need some stretchy material. This is swimsuit material. It stretches both directions, but any material that has a lot of stretch in it and some other materials will work great. I made these hoops over 20 years ago, and now of course Whammo and all these other companies have them. I think I discovered them way back, but that's another story. So first of all, you're going to want to cut out. You determine how big you want it. You don't know really because it stretches until the end product. So pick out several different, I have a couple different patterns. You might use the inside of a small hula hoop as your pattern. This was a hula hoop. This was the top of a big giant frying pan. So whichever size you would like, you will cut them out. This is a sewing project, so if you're not a sewer, I have a serger, and the serger works because it cuts the edge and sews all at the same time. But you are also able to do it just using like a zigzag stretch stitch, a straight stitch really will end up breaking in the end, so you really want something that gives. You will need some material that we call this a facing. So we're going to sew this facing on to the material all the way around, and it will look like this. This one I have already done. Another thing you will need to do is you will need, this is a 100-foot roll. Heidi's making hula hoops. You can make all kinds of things out of this. A 100-foot roll at Menards costs roughly $17. You can make, if you're making normal hoops, you can make 13 of them, maybe little small ones. You can make more. It's a wonderful activity. So what you need to do is heat up your heat gun. I do not pre-cut my my pipe because I'm never really quite sure how big the hoop's going to be. So you start by stringing your hoop on and keep going around. Keep stretching. If you notice, it keeps stretching. You're going to go all the way around. It's good to look for some jazzy material, but plain stuff works also. And then you want it to be so it's big enough that the middle is very stretched. So this is not enough, so I need to keep putting more material in. See how it's getting more taut, so we're going to want to be able to bounce some balls off it. So once I figure out how much I need to use, that's when I cut the pipe. So this is a ratchet pipe cutter. You just keep ratcheting until the pipe is through. Then it's time to heat up the end. You want to heat the pipe so it expands. And don't burn up your material. We'll practice this with Heidi's, and did not do it enough. So again, we're heating. Keep moving the heat gun around so it doesn't just get hot in one spot. And don't touch the hot pipe. That would be the other thing. But you will jam that on. The first side is easiest to do. It's when we now have to heat and stretch this other side. So I will do that. Get it nice and soft. And then we're going to try to jam this other end in. It's kind of a gymnastics, pipe gymnastics here, but stretch it all the way around until we get this end in. And jam it together. And there you are. You can reshape it into another.
Okay, hello. We are now going to make different kinds of noodles that you can use. And this is something you could send home again or use in the gym. I've used them for years since I've learned from my friend Kim Keck, and I did this when she was working. Now she's retired. So what you need for this are, you need a noodle, and you need a serrated knife, and that's like your bread knife, or you can get an electric knife that you use for carving turkey. So I find them at thrift stores. And if you're cutting a lot of noodles, it's really nice to just kind of, you have that electric knife and you zip through it really fast. So everything's blowing away. Here we go. So when I have 3 different types of noodles, and on the handout that's going to be on the website, this is the long noodle, and I usually have them a little over a foot, this one's probably about 14 inches, and I use them a lot for the balancing or throwing and side-to-side jumping, run around, and you can throw it like a javelin. So I listed all those activities with this, but this is the long noodle. And then you have stackers. Stackers are, I cut about I think I had 2 inch, I make them a little over an inch wide. So you can see the hole. So this is the stacker. And I use this a lot. You stack a bunch on top of each other. And I will cut some here for you so you'll see. And you can use them to make, they really like to make their own balance beam with them on the floor. So I have a huge bag of the stackers ready to go for each student when they come in the gym, usually when we can. And so we have the different activities we do with just the stackers. If you take a stacker and you cut it, see the stacker, and you cut it in half, so you have 2 little moon pieces. These are called poppers. This is the most fun part of the noodles, I think. The kids, for one, the OTs love it because it's fine motor. So you have to grab the 2 ends of the circle, so put it on the ends of the moon, and then you squish together, and it pops. And they fly all over the place, so you can hear the popping noise. So those are a big hit with a lot of our kids, and it gets them to really, it's the grasping we're using with a lot of the students. And you can have the paras or staff put hand over hand and help them pop. My favorite activity for the poppers is to pop them onto a parachute, and then you have to shake them all off. And it takes a long time to shake the poppers off. When you use the yarn balls and stuff, they're off in like 2 seconds. The poppers take a long time, and it's like the 4th of July. It's really cool. All right, so let's make some. I'm gonna do, here's the long one. There, you got one long one. So you can stack them on, go on the floor like that and roll and knock them down, or use it for all the activities. Now, for the stackers, I'm just gonna cut through like this. There we go. We'll make about 6 of them. Okay, so they may not be perfectly the same, but you can use them to stack on your hand. See how many you can stack up, or on the floor if it's better, or on a table for the kids that have a more difficult time. Stack it on your elbow, stack it on your shoulder, stack it on your head. We play the knockoff game where they have to put it on the top of their hand and then try and knock the others off. They like that. So those are the stackers. Now, to take a stacker, the solid noodles are better for the poppers, but these still work. So then you have your poppers, and you can pop them. So my assistant's laughing at me. You can't not laugh when you do it. It's really fun, and you get out of hand, and if we start popping them at each other, it doesn't hurt, and that's what I like about it too. So I love the noodles. I have a huge bag of poppers, a huge bag of the stackers, and then a bag of I'll just cut this one, of the long noodles, like that. So you can use these as bowling pins too. So noodles, you'll never go wrong with the noodle activities. You could do a whole week or more and bring them out when it's fun. I like them a lot. So hopefully you can use some of the noodle activities.
For our second bubble floor, you will need 2 dolls, 2 eye hooks, screw eyes, another washer, some rope about 2 1/4 to 2 1/2 yards, and 2 dowels. Now, the first step will be to fold your rope and leave like a long tail and a short tail, and bring all parts through. So you're just going to loop it onto the screw eye. The next part will be to connect to the other side, and again, we're going to put the long end in one direction, and we'll have the short end come through from the other side, and then we're just going to, forgot the washer. You want the washer to help weight down the rope. So here we go again, through. You're going to bring the other end through, and then we're just going to tie it to the top. So a nice granny knot is what I'm doing, but you might be better at knot tying. That could be a whole nother session. And we are done. So you have a top, you have the bottom, and a big hole in the middle to make the big giant ball.
Heidi did. I'm going to show you how to use socks, knee highs, and make yourself some knee-high Frisbees. So you can see this one. This is a finished product of just the bottom part of the sock. So you'll have 2 different size. I use them for many activities, mainly Frisbee golf and playing, partner catch, or how far can you throw it. So this is the final Frisbee. So I am going to take my sock and I'm going to cut it just, if you can see, where the heel is, right here. I'm going to cut so it'll look like a little sock, whatever. So you cut the bottom off. I have a bad scissor. Great. There we go. Okay. So now I just have the bottom of the sock. Looks like the little booty socks. And I'm going to cut the toe part off. So we'll do that quick. And there's my finger. Okay, so really you don't use this much of the sock. Pretty cool, huh? Now, to make the smaller Frisbee, this is all just the bottom part of the sock. I'm going to turn it inside out so you get that nice color, and put the wide end at the top of your arm. So you put it on your arm like this, and then you just roll it towards the bottom and make your donut. So you're going to need 7 donuts to make 1 Frisbee. So you can see how easy that is. I just roll it up. It's not going to be perfect, but there's your donut. Okay, so you need 7 of these to make the small Frisbee. Here's the long part. I didn't want to waste the whole sock, so I thought, why not make a small one, right? Again, inside out, stick the whole sock on your arm. Now I used to do these with nylons. You can use nylons too. It's just that they're a lot more expensive. I bought 4 pairs of socks, so you had 8 individual socks, and you need 7 for 2 Frisbees. So it was $4 for 2 Frisbees, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So you're going to roll down your arm and make another donut. There you go. So there's your larger donut. They look a lot nicer, but I thought, why not use the foot too? So I have, this is from the top part, the bottom part. And then to get the flower design, you put them together so they look like this. There's 7 donuts together. And I'm going to tape them now. So I like to use duct tape, but you can use the electrical tape too, that you can get like a 5-pack at Menards for not too much. I can't remember how much they were. Electrical colored tape. The duct tape holds up better, but I rip off about I think that's about a 5-6 inch strip like this, so you can see it, and then I rip it in half. Okay, and I have 10 pieces of duct tape like that. So I take my center donut and one of my little outer ones, and I start taping them together. So you have to loop it just like this. See how they're tied together now? And then I'll take my next one, and I'll need 2 pieces for that. You want to do them all to the center one. Come on, socks. Get it nice and tight. So I'm going to keep going around the center. So there's my Frisbee. Now you could take 2 of these and make a ball too, just so you know. But there's the soft Frisbees. You need 4 pair of socks, knee highs, and I showed you how to cut them. And I will have that also step by step in the handout, so you'll know exactly what you need. But they're pretty heavy duty, so when you go outside in the wind, it's not going to get carried away. And up here in Moorhead, we have very strong wind. But Frisbees just go crazy when you're outside. So these tend to sit, and they're a heavier load. They don't get taken away. So it's more of a direct thing. So I'm going to throw it now, just like you do, across the body. And you can see that it doesn't hurt anything. I'm throwing it to my partner. So they really do enjoy catching it. The circles in them make it easy to catch, and no one's really afraid of them, which is really nice, because the soft equipment is the best, I think. Frisbees can hurt really bad if you don't know they're coming your way. I think maybe all of us have been clobbered by 1 or 2, and it doesn't feel good. So there's the small and large Frisbees.
I live on a busy road, but here we are once again in our backyard. We have airplanes and cars going by, but I'd like to show you how the bubble blowers work. This bubble blower, I made like 20 of them or 25 of them that I've used for over 20 years, and they're still working. You store them in a bucket, they work great. Here's the one that we made today. So the bubble solution is 1 part Dawn, 3/4 part Karo syrup, and 8 to 10 parts water. So it depends on how much or how little you need to make, and you can adjust from there. If the bubbles aren't working well, then just add some more Dawn. So you dip it in. This one has the slider. You let it leak out. Don't stir the bucket. Bubbles in the bucket aren't good. We want them in the air. You're going to put your hand on the slider. You're going to open, and if you want the bubble to come off, you close it. If you want a big, giant, long one, you dip it. Let it drip, and you can just make several. This one works wonderful. Kids, however, they want to do everything fast. And bubbles don't work fast. It's a slow. You can work on force. Could be one of the goals is to do things a little lighter. It's open, close, open, close, open, close. And nobody should pop your bubble unless you give them permission. And the second one that we made, you're going to dip both sides into the bucket, lift it out, open, and again, you can make a nice long one. So both of these work wonderful. So enjoy.
Hello. Okay, it's time for my grab bag. Now these items I have made previously, but they're only things that you buy and clip on and go. So this is my lovely IKEA grab bag. So if I find out, oh no, I don't have the gym today, or I use these in different activities, you'll see I have them all ready to go. I think everybody has to have a grab bag of some kind. So I'm going to start, actually I do a whole swinging ball, hanging ball, different varieties. This is the one I use most of the time. I take the soccer trainers that you can buy, and I saw Amazon had them for $8 to $10 a piece, and they're a bag that holds a soccer ball, and they usually have like a waist belt or a handle you hold on to so you can kick by yourself. I cut that off, and then I just attach a nylon rope to it and then put whatever ball I want in. Now I use, this is a beep ball, so it's soft, and I use, I put in a cage, like a 2-pound cage ball for just some resistance. I've put in those squishy balls. I don't know, they're soft with those little pellets in them, so you get a cush. And I've also taken a Nerf ball, and I have wrapped it in like a Target bag, so like you get some noise and texture with it. You could put bells in the bag too for noise. There's so many things you can do. So you put whatever ball you want inside your ball bag, and then you have to shoot it up and around your basketball hoop, or if you, I think I just use the basketball hoops for most of mine. So, and then you can play catch with a partner, or you can play catch with a student, and then you don't have to chase the ball all over the place. So I really love these, and this one I've had for 10 or 12 years. They last forever. You just have to slip it open, and you can get the ball out easy. See how I just open it, and then I can just change the ball out. You just have to pop it out, and then you close it back to make it tight. So that is the swinging play catch ball. Okay, now I'm going to hand this over to my partner. Thank you, Megan. Now I buy punch balls. Punch balls, we can use them in our school. I know if you can't use latex, then you can't probably use this one. But I take a punch ball and I put a little, what are they, carabiner clip. It's a little teeny one. And I clip it onto my nylon rope, just like that. And this way I have kids sitting or standing, sitting in a chair, sitting in a wheelchair, and they can work on their overhand strike. Or if you have it low, they can actually kick it. And you can get so many repetitions out of it. So I'm gonna hit it. So it goes around and around. And they like it because there's a little wind out here. But you can hit and hit and hit, and you get so many reps. And you can use these. My balloons last maybe a week, but I really like it because the kids enjoy it. You can draw little faces on it, but they get a lot of repetition. You don't need a big space to do it, and that it's just been a lifesaver when I had those small areas and you don't have a gym space, or you don't have enough help, and the kids can still manage the play time or your gym time without having hand-over-hand assistance. It's really nice. So that's the punch ball. Let's see what else is in my bag here. These became a big hit. Everybody did this, I think. The sock balls. So you just take 2 pair of socks from home, and then you roll them into each other, and then you just have your sock ball. And I had the students go inside and take their hula hoop, make their sock balls, and then we did our tossing together. And you know, they don't hurt the family, it wouldn't break anything in the house. So those are just the sock balls that I use for at-home learning, and you can use your variety of balls at school, obviously. Okay, and I have a couple more things. Now, I learned this on lovely YouTube also. We didn't have balloons at home, right? So I told the kids to go get baggies, and if you want, you can design, I wrote ghost buds, and then you have to blow up and you have your own balloons at home. So I had them they could get whatever size they want. This is just like the quart size, I think. And here's the gallon. And you just seal it all the way to the far end of the baggie. And then blow it up, and there's your balloon. And we saw how many hits you could get, or if you had a partner, you could hit to a partner. Nice job, partner. The wind's blowing. Oh, good job. So I would have them like hit it up and down, hit it to a partner, or hit it into their hoop. And it was a way to have a balloon at home. They loved this, and I thought it was great. So they could put stickers on it or color it. It was just a lot of fun to have something light again, and families liked it because it wasn't breaking anything around them in their house. So that was good. Okay, I have one more thing out of my grab bag. This is what I made, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I just took a bunch of bowling pins and drilled holes in them and strung it onto the rope. And in between each one, I put a bell, because I had a blind student. And when he bowled, I just tied this up to 2 poles, and he could bowl. And I put more of these Velcro bells. You can buy it like Gopher or Sport Time, and they make more noise. But the more bells you can have on, the better. And the ball will just go through, right? I use it, all the kids like it. So you have to use the heavier bowling balls. You can sit on either side, sit on the floor, and work on pushing the bowling ball through it. And you don't have to worry about setting up the pins. You can get more pushing in. And they can do bowling too, bowl back and forth, practice your roll. And they can go through the pins. So it's more like a pin car wash, I've said that. But you get a lot of repetition again. You don't have to pick up a lot of bowling pins, and they have fun. You could even I had Velcro that I stuck on, and you can put pictures on each bowling pin. You can put letters to learn their alphabet and numbers. I really like this though, because it's quick setup, and you don't have to keep setting up. So if you're down on the floor with the kids, you don't have to get up and set, 10 pins up again. So this is my hanging bowling pins. So that is my lovely IKEA grab bag of ideas. I sure hope you got some ideas out of our make and take session, and I wish everybody the best in their 2020-2021 year. Hopefully we get back to our normal activity. Keep safe, keep healthy, and we'll see you at next year's conference. Thank you so much.